hello. So, I've uploaded a bunch of stuff to your Dropbox, to your Google Drive. Um, in here you've got animations, NPC one and NPC two. I will go kind of go over what those mean, weapons and zones. If you need anything else, just let me know. The marketplace one is from the plugins folder inside the engine that you told me to get. I don't use a lot of them, but I just included everything that's attached to the project. Um, if the project doesn't load because of certain plugins, just let me know and I will tell you which ones it doesn't need, or I'll just go and remove them and send you a better one. XI Shadow is the actual project itself, and then I've included some notes. So these notes are mainly for, God, that's bright in it. Sorry. These notes, like this is the Noesis arguments that I use. So some small notes, blend space notes, things like what skeletal meshes are used. These are the base messages. So message base skeletons you use. So whenever you load, like for example, Hugh Mail weapon skill, you need to load his base animation. So these are all the base skeletons that I've got, but they're already all done inside the animations one. Um, the way that Square Enix have set them up is they use three different skeletal animations per for basically one. So they have the upper body, they have the lower body, and then some of them have the waist, or they'll use the upper body for the waist. Um, so for example, if I go inside basic is like your runs, your walks, your provoke animations, your magic animations, all that kind of crap. These will usually have 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, etc. If I go all the way down here to like the walk animations, 0, 1, 2. So they're all split. These are really, really old in the game. You can imagine they were done like when the game came out. So you will see these around. However, when you go to like more newer stuff or more specific things like a weapon skill, um, if I go to dagger, cyclone, you've only got 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Now, for the most part, you can use 1 in place of a 2, so you can do 0, 1, 1, where 0 is the lower, 1 is the upper, and you use 1 again for the waist. And it pretty much works all the time. In some instances, it won't work, and that's usually to do with basic battle animations. So in this instance, I've exported battle animations for 3214. These I believe is sword, so I think this is dagger, this is sword. Um, and I've included the waist ones as well, so these are all 2s just for the waist. And then you can see there's a bunch of animations here. What you can also see from this is there's a lot more animations here. No, sorry, ignore that. There's a lot more animations here than there are in the waist, and I think Square Enix do actually do what I said, where they'll use the ones for the waist. So rather than it being 0, 1, 2, it will be 0, 1, 1. I think they do that, either that or they have other DATs hidden away that they in place in some animations, because they'll go, okay, Cyclone, it only needs, they might have like one DAT that is for cycle for every single like dagger weapon skill, for example. I never set up XI tools to export waste, so it's a bit higgledy-piggledy is that bit, but for your prototyping I don't think it'll be a problem. I've included zones, so zones you'll find base game, these are based per expansion, quite simple, and inside each one of them you'll have the actual thing and the collision. The collision map is a different format, it's in object and not FBX, it's also a different size and it's a different rotation, but it's fixed in engine, so it's not a problem. But if you're ever looking at these outside of engine, then the collisions will be a lot smaller. Um, you got NPC 1 and 2, so NPC 1 is what you would see if you loaded up Altanaviewer. So if I just load it up here, just take a second and go over to NPC and then load up the folder list, you can see you've got like oh, they name things slightly out of order here. So you've got Abyssia, which is Abyssia. Antimorphs. Antimorphs will be here somewhere. There they are. Antimorphs. Amorphs. Sorry, mate. And then some of them are a bit different. So they said they put story NPCs and other NPCs, but it's just NPC, and I think it's Misk is the other one. Oh no, they have Misk down here. One of them will be different, but essentially this matches up with this. And this is on your monsters. It's your trusts. It's your most of your basic NPCs, and by that it's like the story ones, you know. Like Lion obviously looks unique. There's no NPC that looks like Lion. The NPCs too is where they have static NPCs that just use normal outfits. So if I load the Void and load this person, so this is a basic Taru, but for whatever reason they've just got it as a single character. And that is probably because it'll be in a cutscene and it'll have custom animations, and it's just easier for them to just have one skeletal mesh for cutscene animations, which I don't blame them. Because when I get into the animation, you see how annoying it is. I can see why sometimes they're just like, fuck it, one skeleton, do that for the cutscene, it'll be easier. It's probably more optimized as well. So yeah, what we'll do is now we'll jump into Engine. I'll kind of give you a brief overview. So hopefully when you load it up, you'll obviously have your editor the way you set up, but you should be able to load this map. This map is under zones, test, maps. That's the single actor one. I'll click play, however I'm a bit laggy at the moment because I am recording on the other screen, so I'm only getting like 20-30 FPS. You should get a lot more. If I go back to my content, the main ones you kind of need to care about in here is you've got characters. In characters, you've got everything to do with, well, characters. That includes NPCs. Then you've got across here monsters. I've got all the monster folders in here for the ones that I'll be working on. If I go back, I've got mounts. For now, I've just got Chocobo mount. I keep going a bit further on. I've got sounds and stuff like that, but I haven't sent you them. I don't think those are important. And then I've got zones. So these are the zones that I've been working on. I will import one to show you how that works. Zone assets. So when you look at a zone, everything to do with that zone, like bottles, pillars, ladders, etc., is all part of the mesh. It's all one big. It's essentially one big mesh, but it's been split up in a very weird way. It's not split up where it's like a tin off. The tin might be attached to the table, which is attached to part of a wall, like a half of the wall polygons. It's weird. I think it's some PlayStation 2 thing. Either that or it's Noesis that does it. So these are basically where I've gone into the maps and I've literally cut out the polygons for all these different things, and then that just allows me to, like, I can add a barrel, I can add this, I can add this little sleeping bag, you know. So they're just all these like different mesh things that I've just ripped out. There's nothing special there, but I'm not really going to do any more of them, so that's just is what it is for now. The one special one is Airship. Airship has a blueprint because by default the skeletal mesh won't have the propellers on them because they're part of an animation, so it doesn't have them on. So I've just made a blueprint basically with them on, and they'll do their sound effects and they'll do their spinning around and stuff like that. So that's a special zone asset. All the other ones are just static meshes, nothing special. And then inside a subfolder called systems, I have then, like, this is like a bunch of game logic. I don't think it'll really come in here. I don't think anything in here is important. But I guess the main one is data. So I have a bunch of databases. Inside there I have a bunch of enums, I have structures, things like that. So yeah, I'll kind of just run over animation really quickly on how it works. As I said, from the structure of it, you've got 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. And so I'll load this up in Engine. You can kind of see what that looks like. So I'll go to character. In character, I've got these animation blueprints for each race. I'll open up Humale. and this is how it looks like. So for characters, including NPCs, I do not use state machines, um, because I find that this is the most simplest way to do it. All I care about is the basic blend spaces, and all I care about is montages. Those are the only two things I care about. So I don't use a state machine. In a more traditional modern game, you would probably use a state machine. And monsters do in here, but that's because that's just one skeleton, and I don't have to do any blend. But I found this just to be the easiest way, because I didn't need to set, this is the run animation, this is this. I just needed to set up blend spaces, and that was it. So yeah, I've got direction, speed. These come from a base class called character anim instance, and then blend spaces. These also come from that. They come into the blend space node. This is obviously got the blend space pin exposed. It then goes into slots, and that is because that'll allow montages to work. And then it's got blend per bone. Now a better way to do this is using blend masks, because then you can name the actual blends. For now I've just done bones because I've just set it up like that to begin with. But obviously I'm just using the bone names. So any skeleton from Square Enix, it just comes out with the bones as numbers. So it's just like bone 20, a bone 21, bone 22, etc. I think it might just be Noesis that does this. I doubt it's like this in their engine, but it's what we have to deal with. So I've just found out which bones I want to blend with for different things. I'm sure you kind of know how layer blend per bone works. If you don't, then just have a look into it. But you set which bones are going to go for the bottom versus the pose at the top. After it's done that blend, it goes into another one, because then it needs to blend the waist in. So this one's 0, lower, 1 is upper, 2 is waist. And that's kind of how it does the blend in between all the different animations. The rest of this stuff is just all logic stuff, so this doesn't matter for you. IK was something I was just testing out, but I ended up sacking it off because it just didn't kind of work well. And then I can do things like I can move the head, I can move the body if I want to track something. I can do it manually. This is for voice acting, so when I play an audio clip and I classify it as voice, I can make the mouth move based on the audio. And then this is for head movements, so this is mainly for NPCs, so that when I'm in cutscenes, I can move their heads. But again, this is all just these are all just transforms on a bone. They're all just logic stuff, so it's not that important for you, I don't think. The main important thing is just understanding how this works. So as I said, they use blend spaces. How that works is this doesn't have anything here because it uses the parent, and they all use this. They'll use the same parent. I've got basic event for tracking head data, but the main one is this handle anim state. So this is triggered on the update animation. You're probably quite familiar with this. And you go into here, and every time that's triggered, it's getting anim data. So in this instance, it's going to be getting it from the player. So if I go into the player, this is the anim data. It's an interface call. And I'm passing what's the current speed, what's the direction, and what is the blend space. And the way I've set this up is I've got a database called blend spaces for each race, so hue male, and they will have things like their basic ones, so just normal walking around, running, blah blah. Their battle ones, and then whether on the mount or not. I've only done mount for hue male because it's only the character that can go on mounts. The other ones don't have mount ones. They just have moving around and stuff. And at the moment, the way this is set up, they only have one type of battle. So hue male can only have one-handed battle. I'd probably try and improve this for multiple weapons, but for now I just do that. So yeah, like I have a setup script basically that will set these variables, set blend spaces. So I have a setup script that runs through a bunch of set for the actual thing. So this is my setup script. So this runs like basically on event begin play, and it's like load the data, set visibility, set controls, load the UI, set the gaze there. So it just runs through all this kind of thing, and then obviously at some point it does set blend spaces. That comes along, it sets the blend spaces just to a local variable for basic battle and mount, and then it sets the anim state for those blend spaces. So in here it's obviously going to start off as basic. I've got battle and mount because those are the three that I had in the database, and then the interface is just doing a select. So whenever I change this, I can change it anytime. So going in and out of battle, I would change this. So if you imagine, like, by default, so he's in normal blend space mode at the moment because he's just stood there. When I go into battle, he's going to play a montage, which is getting the weapon out. And during that montage, you're not technically playing a blend space anymore. So you can swap the blend space behind the scenes to another one. So during the weapon pull out, I will swap him to battle blend spaces. And now he's in the battle blend space. And then when I put weapon away, he will swap back to basic blend spaces, and it's completely seamless to you because the montage masks the blend space swap. And if I jump on a mount again, it will play an animation, him jumping on, and now I'm in blend space for that. And same with jumping off. I jump off, does the animation, it's already switched back to basic, and it's just all seamless. So because I'm just swapping out blend spaces as and when I need them, I don't need a state machine. And I think that's a lot easier for this specific scenario. I probably won't do this again. Like I said, I probably wouldn't do this in a proper game because I feel like state machines give you a bit more control. But for this, all I care about is these specific blend spaces and montages. So yeah, that's kind of how the animations is set up for this system, and I'll kind of show you how I set it up in terms of actually implementing a new animation. So we'll set up a weapon skill, for example. So if I go into Humale, oh, actually first I'll just quickly show those blend spaces. So Humale, animation, blend spaces. These are the three. See, for the different upper, lower, waist, etc. So if I go into basic, this is a very simple setup. This is kind of the most simplest setup I have. So I can, he just turns and walk in, idle. You've probably seen these. This is just a typical blend space setup. I have set up custom 45-degree angle ones, and that is because when you're just running around, it's just direction to where your face is. So if I press A and to go left, he's just going to run left. I press D, he goes right, he's going to run right. That's fine. And it's same for walking. And he'll just go the direction. If I tab onto an actor that now I'm locked on, I want him to run like strafe. And I also want it to work when I run diagonally. Rather than strafe, I want him to go into a run. So that's why I've done that there. But if you press control, you just go back into walking mode. Because walking doesn't have strafing, but running does have strafing. The moving backwards bugged at the moment. He should go into walk mode, but it's just not working at the moment. That's bugged. So that's my blend space. It's a very simple one. MVB is for move back, MVR move right, MVL move left, etc. It's just the naming scheme that Square Enix have set up. They use basically 3 characters. Luckily, walk, WLK is kind of obvious. Idle, ADL, run. Run's just running it. So that's the setup they have. So I'll close that off now, and I'll just quickly import an animation so you can kind of see how quite simple it is really. So I'll do a battle one. So I'll go over to that folder that you'll have downloaded. Let's get, for example, let's get a club animation, and let's get Mystic Boon. No idea what it is, so I'm just going to drag the whole folder in. I'm going to select my animation, new mail. Some important ones in here. Let's do animated time. Use default sample rate. I'm going to take that. Maybe take that off. We'll do 60. Always snap to closest frame boundary. Yes. And actually, I can't remember if that was supposed to be ticked or not. Let's leave that ticked for now. I mean, you can have a play around it or do whatever's best for your system. I can't remember if I have the animation set with that or not. These arrows don't matter. Some bones just don't have animation tracks. So now we've got animations. In this instance, we've got 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. By 0, 1, I mean if you look at the last number, it's 0, 1, and then last number's 0, the last number's 1. The other number is the part, so this is the first part because it's 0, 0. This is the second part, 1, 1. Then it jumps to 3, 3, and then 4, 4. For some reason, this one doesn't have a 2, 2. It might be that this specific weapon skill does something else like banish or whatever, but we'll just see how it looks. So I'll create an anime montage. I'll call it Mystic Boon. Let's pause this because it just looks crazy. I'm just gonna try and keep this on screen for a sec. So I will first off, I usually delete the tracks and then I swap the default slot over to 0, add the 1, montage, new slot 2. So now I've got my 3 slots for lower, upper, waist. And these are numbered, so 0 for lower, 1 for upper, 2 for waist. They're numbered exact, so I can grab the 0, pop it on, I can grab the 1. In this case, we don't have a 2, so we'll just add the 1 again. And then let's go move on to the next one. And then move on to that next one. Hopefully it looks alright. Let me just check, is there any jump in there? No, it seems to blend fine. And then we'll add this one. Add this one. I've added that to the wrong one. That should be up there. Pop that there. So 0's on the top, 1 there, and then 1 on 2 because we don't have a 2 here. So if I do a preview for the upper, I can actually see what it looks like. So it's just a basic smack. Boom. Cool. So that's fine, don't need to do anything else now. Now if I go up to my data folder, so systems data, I'm going to add this animation in. So I click new one. I do HM for Humale, and then what was it? Mystic Boom. Mystic Boon. Set the race, Humale. The folder was battle slash Mystic Boon, and then the name was just Mystic Boon. Now the reason I have this set up like this is because it will dynamically look up the montage for me, and then it will pull it back as an animation. I can also do the same where I don't actually have to create the montage. I can just tell it which animations to load and it will go and load it. But I don't do that often because if I create a montage, like an attack montage, I want to add things like trails and effects and hit timings and slow motion and stuff like that. You know, you want to add those timeline stuff. So a lot of times I end up just creating the montage manually, but I still use the lookup thing because it works. This will handle, like I can pass it the enum of race and it will go and find it correctly in the correct folder. So now I have that, and it's called HM Mystic Boon. So if I go over to my character, I'll click edit on him. So I'll just close all this for now. Go to my event graph. We'll change on H. I have this custom play anim, which basically just plays a montage and calls some events. There's nothing really special on it. And then you can pass, like, do you want it to reverse? Do you not want it to reverse? What speed do you want it at? Etc. But it ultimately is just calling the Unreal Engine play montage. It also lets you do it from external, because you can't call this from external. But I can call this from external. So we'll just stick in Mystic Boom, compile, save, and now if I press H, it does the Mystic Boom. Kaboosh. And if I get the weapon out, because it's socketed to right-handed, it will just look perfectly fine. I don't need to get any animation or anything. And if I change weapon over to a sword, it will also work perfectly. Doesn't matter what weapon I got, it'll work. So that custom socketing. So yeah, very simple for animations. The main thing is that upper, lower waist thing and the 0, 1, 2, 3. That's the main thing you kind of have to know for Final Fantasy specific stuff. So yeah, I mean, this is like a 26-minute video already. I can kind of go over like zones and stuff if you want. Or you can just kind of have a look at what I've got. They're quite simple to set up, but I could do another video on that if you want to. Monsters, I do have some monsters in. And they have a bunch of options, so I will just bring in some of them. I haven't set up attack animations on yet. So for example, if I go over to spider animations, even though I've put in the montages, there's no hit. I don't have the anim state for combat attack. Like I don't say, oh, attack at this point. I haven't done all that shit yet. I don't even know if I've set up a hit thing for the spider. So if I go to my spider and go to my hit thing, this will be hidden, I think, visible. So I've got this little actor and it needs to get attached to a socket. With a spider, socket's going to be like these little feet at the front. But I just haven't set it up for this guy. But I have set up for a few other ones. So if I go to maybe Giga, I believe I've set up Gigas. Boom. So he has his animations, attack 0. Oh, he doesn't do damage. Let me delete him. Let me pick another one. Which one would actually attack me? Maybe the Beast Demon? Did I set it up for him? On sword? Yeah, so he's got it, attack 0. So the sword guy's got it, attack 0. Yeah, there we go. So I'll pop in the sword guy. And then I have a bunch of Final Fantasy 11 monster options. So yeah, it's not very organized at the moment. It's kind of just a bit of a mess. I'm still going through, but the main ones you want to do is enable AI. So enable AI, and then you might want to enable combat. So once you've done that, then you can actually go and attack them. So it's just going to stand still at the moment. If I go attack. Now the other thing, obviously you noticed, they can change. He's red. And there he goes. He's going to his tap post now and he'll chase me. And he does attacks and he hits me. These 3 NPCs can attack They are like, she actually doesn't have any attack things set up at the moment, so she'll do the animations, but she won't actually do any damage because I've not set that up. And she'll do like one weapon skill, but again, I haven't set it up because I was messing about with her movement. So she kind of walks in battle like this, but if you get too far, she teleports. I thought it was quite cool. This guy, because he's a mage, he doesn't actually change stance. He will also walk because the arena that I have him in is quite small, and he does magic attacks anyway. So he'll do a magic attack now. See some poison on me. Yay, poison. He's gonna do something else. Oh, double poisoned me. Cheeky shit. And then this one, she actually has quite a lot because you can actually set her as a trust. So I can attack her. She'll come after me. And she can actually attack me back, so she's actually hitting me now. And she is quite powerful, so she could probably kill me. But I could also set her as a trust and not attack her. So if I click on her, for example, and go down, I have this combat link group. So if I click that, combat link group, that basically means, so if I pick, this is how things are linked together. So if I click the other two NPCs, if I attack her, these should go into attack mode. If I attack her, and now they're both on me now. So I'll burn that off a second. Combat attackable types, that was it. So if I go to, she can attack monsters. Would NPC work? Guess we'll find out. So she is an NPC herself, and she can attack monsters and NPC. And the player, for example, will have something similar. He's a player and he can attack NPCs and monsters. And then there will be a enable combat trust mode. There we go. And enable all attacks. Yeah, let's do it. So now she should follow me. Oh, I need to set her default state. So her animation state at the moment is idle. So I'll set her in follow player. So now she'll follow me. So it's so laggy because I'm recording as well. And then if I go to attack this guy, she should go into combat. Oh, there we go. It's because he hit me. Fun. It's dead. So she goes out of combat. And then she should go back into follow mode. That's probably just another thing. I've just placed these down, so I haven't really set them up properly. Following combat. AI combat. AI combat state flash. I should have put that back to follow. So at the end of combat, go into follow mode. But yeah, you get the gist. I'm actually curious if she'll attack this NPC. She might not because the NPC can't attack me. Oh crap, I hit her. I forgot that. Obviously she's an NPC. And she's an NPC and I need attackable mode as NPC. Okay. It's like Skyrim, isn't it? But yeah, that's the kind of like general gist. And if you want to know how I like import monsters and stuff, I can let you all know. It's quite simple setup. But I'll keep the video short. Well, I'll say for short, it's 35 minutes long. But I'll keep the video just focused about like an introduction of what this is and how I did the animation stuff, because that's quite a complex one. And then yeah, just have a play around with it, get it set up, and if you want to learn more, I think the next ones would be like showing you how to do monsters. showing you how to do zones. I guess that's kind of it really. You don't really need much else. Weapons maybe, they're super simple. And yeah, but hopefully, I mean, this is enough to get you started. And if you click on my zones, just search level, you got the maybe level underscore, gives you all the different levels. Or just go into the folders. So, for example, Hall of Gods. This was more of just playing around. Oh, it's gonna lag to open in it. Sometimes my 5.2 just pauses for like a minute. Give it a sec, it will load. There we go. Oh, that's flickering because I got the collision mesh turned on as visible. Let me edit this. You won't have this as visible. I was just checking something later, earlier on. Yeah, I find it funny that the Hall of Gods has the default collision. This is an old map. This is like map number 0 that they used to have. Let me just set this as visible. No. Yeah, so this is just Hall of Gods, which I was trying stuff out on. There isn't really much here. If you load Juno, it's going to be very laggy. It might be too laggy for me. When you compile the game, it's not laggy. It's just in editor, it's quite laggy. There's all sorts of stuff on here. There's a lot of AI. There's random AIs that load. There's a bunch of like trigger events and stuff like that. This might take a second. It's because I haven't opened these for ages. I haven't been on this project for months. So it's all a bit rusty. Here we go. There we go. Oh, I need to go into the base. So it's because I only edited the thing. I actually have a base collision mesh visible. There we go. Right, there we go. Oh, it's gonna play music. Sorry, a bit loud. Oh no, never mind. It wasn't too bad. When you're in, if you press P, it loads up the menu. Just turn this down. But this is my load, you know. And you can press M to change the weather. It's raining. Ooh, it's raining. Oh, let's try to compile shaders. That's lovely. But yeah, you can feel free to just go through my maps. Some of them are set up for purely cutscenes. So, for example, Zarkbad. This one is purely just cutscene. There's no player in it. In Budasang Glacier, for example. Where is it? Where is it? I'm blind. Oh, it's right here. There's 2 levels, and that's because one is like an open worldy map, and then the other one is just the Shadow Lord battle, which I was messing around with. Again, like Throne Room, for example, is just purely cutscenes. So there's nothing in there. Yeah, and a couple of others are like that. This one's like that as well. But feel free to play around. Like Mostek Coast, you can load and you can run around. At Altep, you've obviously seen the video that I did. You can run around that. Cape Tower was the test. I haven't done anything there. Um, yeah, if you got any questions, man, just let me know. I can always record another 5 minute video plapping on about it. Um, I'll probably just focus on a specific thing. This is more of just like getting used to it. Hopefully you can load it. Be hilarious if you can. But yeah, there's out. Just let me know, mate. Alright, I'll catch you later.